guys, I am ready to start Module 20, the last module. I'm so excited. So at this point, you guys should have done the Are You Ready quiz on page 510. So again, we're doing geometry. We're all about shapes. So lesson 1 is called Draw Quadrilaterals. The I can statement says, I can draw a quadrilateral given descriptions of the sides and angles in the shape. I can group quadrilaterals using the side lengths or number of right angles. So in Module 19, the last lesson was all about defining quadrilaterals. And so we learned all the requirements needed to label a quadrilateral. So now we are going to take what we learned, take all that descriptions, and be able to produce a shape that follows those exact attributes. So let's get started. The Spark Your Learning says, an architect is asked to design an outdoor theater stage in the shape of a quadrilateral. The stage must have 2 pairs of parallel sides, no right angles, and at least 2 sides that are different in length. So we're going to use those attributes, those descriptions, to draw our stage and draw our quadrilateral. So we know quadrilateral has 4 sides always. In this particular quadrilateral, the stage that this architect is building has to have 2 pairs of parallel sides. So right off the bat, I'm thinking parallelogram, right? Parallel lines, parallel sides. Those are the sides that have the same distance from each other always. This way or this way, always the same. For this parallelogram though, there are no right angles, so it cannot be a rectangle or a square because those have right angles. And at least 2 sides that are different in length, which tells me that the top and bottom will have to be the same, but the sides are the sides have to be the same as each other, but the side lengths are going to be different than the top and the bottom lengths. So let's draw this out. So my parallelogram, make sure that I'm following along on the dots because that will tell me that that will tell me that they're parallel because the distance never changes. So then we'll go over here to the side. Now notice how I'm going down kind of to the left and stopping before I reach the end of this line. Now I'm doing that because I want to create a diagonal line because I don't want any right angles. Okay? So there we have it. This is our parallelogram. These 2 are equal to each other and parallel to each other. The top and bottom are equal to each other and they're parallel. And then the top and the sides are different lengths. So that totally matches our description. Okay. So pretty simple, right? We're just taking the descriptions, taking the attributes, and producing a shape. Okay, next page. The build understanding, it says, draw a quadrilateral that has 2 pairs of opposite sides that are equal in length, 2 pairs of opposite parallel sides, and 4 right angles. Okay, so specifically 4 right angles, that tells me that that has to be a rectangle or a square because those are 2 shapes that have to have right angles. But then it says 2 pairs of opposite sides that are equal in length. So 2 pairs. That tells me that this is probably going to be a rectangle because 1 pair is going to be long and then the second pair is going to be short, but they're equal to each other. And then 2 pairs of opposite parallel sides. Again, the top and bottom are parallel, side to side are parallel. So let's draw this shape. Since I want right angles, I'm going to draw a straight line down, straight line across. Notice how this bottom line is longer than the top, the bottom line is longer than the sides. So now we have our 4 right angles, and that was one of the requirements. The other requirements that there are 2 pairs of opposite sides that are equal in length. These 2 lines are opposite each other and they are equal. these two are opposite each other and they are equal. So we have two pairs of opposite sides that are equal in length. And then we have two pairs of opposite parallel sides. So top and bottom are parallel to each other, side and side are parallel to each other. So now it says, to which quadrilateral categories does the shape you drew belong? So since we have two pairs of parallel lines, this could be a parallelogram. So we'll write parallelogram. In addition to that, it could be a trapezoid, because a trapezoid only requires that at least one set of lines are parallel to each other. So we have at least one. We have more than one, but it's at least one. And then finally, this is a rectangle. So remember how I talked about how when we name the shape, so we want to be as specific as possible. So we're not going to call this a trapezoid. It technically is correct, but to be more specific, we'll say a rectangle. Okay, part B says, how do you know the shape you drew belongs to those categories? Well, we know the definitions of each of those shapes, and the shape that we drew based on these, attributes are the same definition. So it all works out. So you'll write that down. Number 2, look at the quadrilaterals. What name do all of the quadrilaterals in this group share? So let's take a look. We have a square, a rhombus, and a square that is just like turned. So here we cannot call them squares because this right here does not have 4 right angles, but we can call all of them a rhombus. We also have 2 sets of parallel lines. And so since we have 2, we can call them parallelograms. And then we can also call them a trapezoid, because a trapezoid only needs at least 1 pair of parallel sides. So we would probably call these all rhombus, because that's the most specific, because they have 4 equal sides. Parallelogram, you don't have to have 4 equal sides. Trapezoid, you don't have to have 4 equal sides. But they all belong to those categories. Part B says, draw a quadrilateral that does not belong to this group. Explain why this shape does not belong to the group. So I would draw something like this that has 2 sets of equal lengths. So this is a parallelogram, but it's not a rhombus, because a rhombus has to have 4 equal sides. So then you would just write down how it doesn't belong to the group, because it doesn't have all 4 sides of equal length. Okay, next page. Look at the shapes. What name do all the quadrilaterals in this group share? So we have all of these shapes have 4 right angles, and that's super important, so we can call this a rectangle. Now, not all 4 sides are equal, so we can't call it a rhombus or a square. But we have 2 sets of parallel lines, so we can call them parallelograms. And we can call them trapezoids. Part B says, draw a shape that belongs to the group. Now, to belong to this group, we have to have 4 equal sides. Or sorry, not 4 equal sides, 4 right angles. So whatever shape I draw needs to have 4 right angles and 2 sets of parallel lines. So I could draw a square, and that would technically belong to the group, because I have 4 right angles. Oh, and you know what? I miscounted, so this is actually a rectangle. So I just drew another rectangle. I miscounted the dots. I was trying to do 4 by 4, and I accidentally did 4 by 5. That's okay. So then it asks, what attributes do all the shapes in this group share? So you'll say they all have 4 right angles. They all have 2 sets of parallel lines. Or I was writing parallelogram. That happens a lot. Parallel lines. And they also have 2 sides, or 2 sets of sides that are equal length. equal length. So that's what you write down. All right, look at the shapes. Draw shape A that belongs to the group. Draw shape B. Oh wait, what? Oh. So it's saying these are the shapes given, and then we are going to draw shape A and shape B. Okay, now I get it. Draw shape A that belongs to the group. Now in this group, we have 4 equal sides and 4 right angles. So this is a square. So I'm gonna have to be very careful. I'm counting my dots. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. So we have 4 right angles and 4 equal side lengths. Then draw shape B that has 2 right angles and exactly 1 pair of parallel sides. So shape B has 2 right angles. So let's see, how do we do that? So this is the one where like you do that, and then one of the sides you want to go up so that you have, it's like basically forcing you to do a diagonal line, and that's what we want because we only want 2 right angles, nothing more. And then our 2 parallel lines are the sides. They're different in length, but that's okay. They're still parallel. All right. Draw and name the quadrilateral. 4 sides of equal length, no right angles. That is very important. No right angles. That is going to be a rhombus. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 4 equal sides, no right angles. Oh wait, I just created right angles. So that doesn't work. It's kind of difficult. Okay, that's a little better. Ooh, now it's getting all weird. There we go. I got it. 3rd time's the charm. I don't look at those ones. So here we have 4 equal side lengths, no right angles. This is a rhombus. Then number 2 says 2 pairs of parallel sides, no right angles. Now again, 2 pairs of parallel sides, I automatically think of a parallelogram. No right angles, so again, I want to create a diagonal line so that I don't have any right angles. So this could be a parallelogram or a trapezoid. All right, next page. Draw a quadrilateral that does not belong to the group. Then explain why it does not belong. So here we have a set of rhombuses because they are all equal, all 4 sides are equal to each other, but these 2 don't have right angles. This one does happen to have right angles, but these 2 do not. So these are all a rhombus. So then I'm going to draw a rectangle that has 2 sides, 2 different sets of equal side lengths. So since not all 4 are equal to each other, it can't be a rhombus, so it does not belong to the group. Then this one we have, looks like parallelograms, because a rectangle has to have 4 right corners. This one does not have 4 right corners. So these are all rectangles and parallelograms. So they all have 2 sets of parallel lines. So I'm going to draw a trapezoid because a trapezoid that only has 1 pair or 1 set of parallel lines. So it does not belong because it does not have 2 sets of parallel lines. Then number 5, it says, rhombus billboards makes all their signs in the shape of a rhombus. On April Fool's Day, rhombus billboards makes a quadrilateral sign that is not a rhombus. Such a good prank. Draw a sign that the company might make. Explain why the shape you drew does not belong in the group. So this could be a rhombus. The requirements for a rhombus is that the four sides are equal to each other and there's two sets of parallel lines. So I'm going to draw something that does not have four side lengths that are all equal to each other or have two sets of parallel lines. So something like that. So you see that is the longest, medium, and then short, and then that's the shortest. So they're definitely not all equal to each other. We do have one set of parallel lines, but we don't have two sets, and so that's what makes it very different. So silly. All right, hope this went well. This is a long day of math, so hang in there. You're done with the first lesson, do the homework, and then come back for lesson 2. Love your guts. Bye.